Now on Coast TV News.
Monster waves crashing on the coast.
It's only a matter of time before it gets even worse than this.
The damage from this recent nor'easter.
Flooding on Delmarva.
I have never, ever seen the water this high up.
From beaches to roadways, Delmarva hopes to dry out.
We're tracking the nor'easter, and we're going to let you know through the tracking what to expect this evening as well as Tuesday.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
A live look into Ocean City as the storm continues to hit our coast. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 6. We continue to track this nor'easter here on Delmarva.
We have crews along the coast tonight. Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams in the Weather Center tracking the latest. Emma Aiken in Lewes. Kevin Zapay down near the Indian River Inlet. And first we will check in with our Chief Meteorologist.
Right now, we're taking a look at this nor'easter, and it still have some lingering scattered showers crossing throughout portions of the Delmarva Peninsula. Now, this is part of a bigger system that right now looks like it's going to start targeting areas close to Fenwick and Bethany Beach area for the rest of this evening, but it's still cranking up and causing some concerns for widespread beach erosion. So for this evening, high winds with coastal inundation, that's a concern, along with possible erosion. Then for tomorrow, mainly it's going to be a problem with winds, but we're also seeing that begin to kind of bleed into our expectations for tonight, along with some of the inundation that's occurring. Rainfall wise, we had just under 2 inches in Harbison, over 1.25 inches in Dagsboro, and just shy of 1 inch, for example, in Lewes. So we see those lingering showers continue to complicate matters throughout our region, particularly over Seaford as well as Highway 9, and then along Highway 1, particularly as you begin to travel in that general direction. We do have the coastal flood warning and advisory that's still in effect for our immediate area. And we are concerned about gale wind warnings. Now, with a gale wind, we're talking about 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts to be a part of it. And as you take a look at the winds, that's going to be our concern for late tonight going into tomorrow as this continues to churn. Take a look, for example, at how impressive some of these numbers were. 57 mile per hour wind gust, Indian River Inlet, 55 mile per hour wind gust, South Bethany, and a 52 mile per hour wind gust that's been recorded as we've been tracking this for the last 2 days in Lewes. Outside, we can see that the waves are continuing to really just creep upon the coast and literally ripping a lot of the foundations just apart as far as the beach area is concerned. And we're looking for these lingering showers to continue to be the case for us with these winds. Now, coming up, we're going to be talking about how fast this is going to shift and move out of the way. Until then, back to you.
Thank you. In Rehoboth Beach today, monster waves were crashing down, creating some pretty dangerous surf there. People came and watched the waves. Some people were taking pictures, and this was around high tide there in Rehoboth Beach.
Meanwhile, over in Lewes, the wind bullied and blew sand into the beach parking lot, practically covering it at some spots. Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken is live in Lewes. Emma, a little calmer now, but still lots of water.
Charlie, we're here right across from Savannah Road in Lewes. Take a look outside our first alert weather Jeep. As you said, it is calmer now, getting calmer by the hour that we get away from high tide, which was around 2:30 in this afternoon here in Lewes. So the road is a little bit better, but that marsh across the street still covered in water. We have a car coming through here. Not as bad as it was earlier. We're going to show you some video from earlier, again, during that high tide, which was around 2:30 this afternoon here in Lewes. A lot of cars were driving up to this water, and you could just see them debating if they were going to drive through the flooding or not. And at points, it basically turned into a one-lane road here on Savannah with cars waiting for each other to get through the several inches of deep water. And even the Lewes Daily Market told us they were closed had to close 3 hours early because the flooding was just all in their parking lot. And we spoke with some people who live in Lewes who say this weather is just wild.
We live right over there by the channel, and so we were just watching the water come up yesterday and then saw the road flood. So yeah, it's been wild. I'm hoping that it stays down today so tonight we can get some sleep and not worry about the cars.
And it wasn't just the flooding, it was also the high tide hitting the beach just up the road from here. Again, earlier this afternoon, the water was coming 3/4 of the way on the beach. It was honestly not too far from hitting the parking lot when it was at the peak of high tide. And we saw a lot of people just kind of getting out of their cars, taking pictures, just in awe of Mother Nature. For now, I'm in the First Alert Weather Jeep. I'm Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
On your screen now is the Indian River Inlet Bridge. This was moments before our broadcast started, and since we have gone on the air, DelDOT has announced the northbound part of Route 1 has closed due to flooding, and that's where Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zapay is on Route 1 near the inlet. And Kevin, the part of the roadway has been taken over by water.
Maddie, according to DelDOT, Fred Hudson Road is now closed in Bethany Beach due to the flooding. And if you take a look right behind me, we're on southbound of the Indian River Inlet Bridge, and flooding is starting to happen here on Route 1. If you take a look, you see the water kind of coming in onto the road, and it's slowly creeping its way. Now, taking a look at the Indian River Inlet Bridge, here's a look at how rough the waves have been throughout the day, crashing into the rocks and rising above the sidewalk. Tim Callahan says he hasn't seen conditions this bad since Hurricane Sandy.
The water's still coming inland and all. It's coming over the rocks. It's only a matter of time before it gets even worse than this.
According to DelDOT, they plan to
Looks like we lost some of that sound there, but again, just to make it clear, Route 1 northbound is closed starting at Fred Hudson Road. Ocean City saw flooding too. You could see that images there. This was around 3:30 again at high tide, and more waves were coming down. And we spoke with people who said they've evacuated Ocean City before, but haven't seen it like this.
I have never, ever seen the water this high up and close this many streets this soon after a storm. It amazed me.
And cleanup was underway at the Ocean City Inlet from the impacts of the storm overnight.
And check this out. This is on Delaware 54 at Lincoln Ave and Fenwick Island. You can see the flooded areas to the sides of the roads. No flooding on the road at this time. This was just before the broadcast started.
New at 6, let's take you to Long Neck, where you could see high tide this afternoon. If you're familiar with this area, this is where Paradise Grill is. You can see on your screen roads were blocked off, parking lots turned into lakes, and some neighbors even had to park their cars on a higher spot to avoid all that water.
If you see right beyond that little green thing, beyond that plant, that's where one of the drains is. There's another drain by that box over there. And these drains are plugged, they're clogged. They need work, and they're not getting the work they need.
Coast TV meteorologists say dangerously high tides should be over within the next 24 hours.
To Bowers Beach, where a voluntary evacuation was issued Sunday ahead of flooding. No major damage, though. One thing they are worried about in Bowers Beach is drainage. Locals say Bowers drains are prone to clogging up. You just heard another person talking about that, especially after all of the flooding that has already taken place over this past weekend.
High winds and strong surf pounded Slaughter Beach this weekend. Not only did high waters affect the beach, flooding covered parts of town, leaving one of the town's entrances underwater. The mayor of Slaughter Beach says the wind died down today, but the weekend and Monday morning were a different story.
Had flooding that closed down 36, our northern route into the town. And this morning, early, right after the high tide at whatever it was, 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we started to see water coming up on Bay Avenue, but it since has receded.
Ward says the storm caused about 2 feet of erosion. The mayor also said most of the emergency operations will be shut down tonight in Fenwick.
Wind, water, and waves in Bethany Beach. Streets were completely submerged in water earlier today, and the waves just slamming down.
Milford Public Works made sandbags over the weekend and added more today after the initial supply, around 300 bags, was given out. Neighbors were able to get up to 10 sandbags each after showing proof of residence. City officials say this is part of their effort to ensure everyone has the tools they need to protect their homes.
And that was a lot. We just showed you a whole bunch of flooding and weather. Now let's go to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, what part of coastal storms impact you the most?
Let's take a look at the updated results from last news hour. It's changed a little bit. Coastal flooding, 19%, beach erosion, 19%, power outages, 19%, and road closures, that's the biggest at 43%.
Definitely a leader in the clubhouse there. We have a comment from Sheila in Rehoboth. Hopefully erosion won't be too extreme. Hopefully residents and visitors will help with beach cleanup. I like that idea.
Me too. And if you haven't voted yet or left a comment, we'd love to hear from you. Go to coasttv.com or our mobile app and we'll show you updates tonight at 11. We have more news to get to this evening.
James Franklin is out as head coach at Penn State. Find out what led to the decision.
We have some hazardous high winds for the next 24 hours. I'll pinpoint where the waves will be the most aggressive.
But first, home destroyed in Dewey. An overnight fire does that. And we're speaking with neighbors when we're back in just 60 seconds.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
You're looking at what's left of a home on Carolina Avenue in Dewey Beach. A fire early this morning causing $1 million in damage there.
We are told it was a vacation home, so nobody was inside at the time. That's the good news. But according to the Delaware State Fire Marshal, 3 firefighters were sent to the hospital with some minor injuries following the response. Coast TV News reporter Christina DeRobertis is live in Dewey Beach. Christina, the fire spread to neighboring homes.
Yeah, Charlie, and you can see the property here behind me pretty much burnt to the ground, but both homes on both sides here were damaged. This yellow one to your left getting the worst of it. You can see some of the shingles on the roof there melted off. Also this white fence back here also melted. The blue one, as I said, not as bad, but the fire broke out around 3 a.m. we're told, and the Delaware State Fire Marshal says it took about 2 hours to put it out. They say it was fully contained by 5 a.m. Lots of people in Dewey Beach were walking by today, driving by, just taking a look at the damage. One neighbor tells us people were fearful the fire was going to spread further down the block.
It was quite the spectacle, and of course the worry is always with the winds as they were blowing and the like. What's it going to do to the rest of the block? We're all friends here, and so we were, of course, a little bit upset about that and wondering how this was going to go.
Again, we're told this was a vacation home and that nobody was inside at the time of the fire. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Live here in Dewey Beach, I'm Christina DeRobertis, Coast TV News.
We're still tracking the residual rain that's a product or a byproduct of this nor'easter, but we're going to talk about what kind of damage it's causing and how much longer it's going to stick around. It's not that this storm is all that strong, but because it's been around for so long and for the last 36 to near 48 hours, it's almost like a bit of a war of attrition between the coast and the nor'easter. And although it's not as vibrant as it was, it's still tearing away at the coast, and we're starting to see more and more way of closures and more in the way of beach erosion scenarios. Now, we will see the scattered showers in Rehoboth stick around until 9 o'clock, and we'll drop down to the lower 60s. Now, this is the latest look at what's happening with the rain. It's not necessarily impressive, but remember, it's been around all day long, so it's an accumulative effect that we're concerned with, and that's especially as it pertains to the winds south of the Indian River Inlet. We see widespread scattered showers, raining between Greenwood going up towards Milford, and then from Georgetown headed towards Lewes along Highway 9. That's where we're seeing the soaking that's happening significantly. Now, we have an update on the coastal flood, not a warning, but still an advisory for Ocean City, West Ocean City. Now, we also, in addition to that, have a small craft advisory. This is 25-mile-per-hour winds, but it's really the most southern portions of Sussex where we're seeing the most impact right now. That's continuing as this storm is just chewing away, at the foundation of the beach area between Ocean View down towards Fenwick Island, right in that area. In addition to that, coastal flood warnings will stay active until 8 o'clock this evening. They may be extended because we're getting word about more complications along Highway 1. Scattered showers will continue to plague and push throughout a portion of the mid-Atlantic as this low-pressure system sits right next to us and causes more trouble. We had just shy of 2 inches of rain that fell in Harbison, just over 1.25 inches in Dagsboro, and over 1 inch in Georgetown. Now, the official site's not quite as impressive, but once again, the rain was all-encompassing of the entire Delmarva Peninsula. Our forecast is indicating right now we see spotty showers from 9:30, and then by 3 o'clock, we'll see a very thin line that's going to push across the Sussex County area, particularly down towards the southern portions of Highway 113. Not necessarily a lot of rain, but enough to continue to keep things active. Peak wind gusts, by the way, in excess of 50 miles per hour in Lewes, South Bethany, and Indian River Inlet. And we can see this is the low pressure system off the coast and that circulation associated with it. We're looking for 32 mile per hour wind gusts in Milton, and then we're looking for it to slice out of the north for Bethany Beach going towards Ocean View. And that's going to allow for the future waves to stay somewhere around 8 feet until we go into, let's say, Wednesday, because we have the pouring in of those winds coming out of the north. And by Wednesday, we're expecting things to clear out for us. But keep in mind, Tuesday, we're going to stay active with the winds out of the north. And then finally, down the road, we're looking for another wave of impressive rain to hit us Monday going into next Tuesday of next week. Finally, here's a look at your 7-day forecast. And we're going to be a bit on the cloudy and breezy side for Tuesday.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good evening, everyone. It is a new dawn, a new day for Penn State football. Over the weekend, Penn State fired James Franklin after a 22-21 loss to Northwestern, a move that shocked the college football world. Franklin was in the midst of his 12th season at Penn State, a season in which the Nittany Lions were a 4th down stop away from taking down top 10 Oregon and entered the season number 2 in the AP Top 25 poll. After the home loss to Oregon, a road loss to UCLA and home L to Northwestern ultimately signaled the end of Franklin's time in Happy Valley. During Franklin's time at Penn State, he won 104 games, tied for second all-time at the school with Rip Engel. He led Penn State to 5 11-plus win seasons, and in 2024 led the Nittany Lions to the college football playoff for the first time, defeating SMU and Boise State before losing to Notre Dame in the CFP semis. Despite the firing, Penn State still owes Franklin more than $49 million for the foreseeable future. For more on Penn State football, tune in to Nittany Game Week, Fridays on the Delmarva Sports Network. That'll do it for sports. Have a great night.
Soaring Over the Shore is brought to you by Morse Roofing and Siding.
A tributary of the Chesapeake Bay, the Nanticoke's importance sprawls and ranges from economic to environmental.
According to DelawareWatersheds.org, the Nanticoke is one of the Chesapeake's healthiest rivers. 725,000 acres of the watershed helps plants and animals. Lots of properties on the National Register of Historic Places line the Nanticoke's banks. And according to the Nanticoke Watershed Alliance, the river has the highest concentration of bald eagles in the northeastern U.S. So whether you boat, float, or simply walk by, the Nanticoke's significance continues. Here's some happy news to end our broadcast. A group of 16 volunteers braved the cloudy skies and rain on Saturday to take part in Trails Day at Cape Henlopen State Park, helping with cleanup efforts before weather forced an early wrap-up. The Friends of Cape Henlopen State Park organized the event, which started at Gordon's Pond.
I'm a big fan of the Friends of Cape Henlopen State Park. They help out with a whole lot of stuff. All right, so in Rehoboth right now, we can still see the very active waves right now. The nor'easter's far from dead, but at least it's backed off a bit with its intensity. Now, we have a coastal flood warning that is in effect for places throughout all of Sussex, Millsboro, and Long Neck, particularly along Highway 1, where we're seeing more complications with the roads. The gale wind warnings in effect off of the coast for us in Sussex, and then we have a small craft advisory in effect off of the coast for us, Ocean City down towards Chincoteague. Now, we do have an updated concern for coastal flooding to our south, and then a small craft advisory that's active for us over towards the Cambridge area. But overall, look for lingering showers to continue with breezy conditions. Patricia Lannis of Salisbury, you're our winner. Keep up with your forecast with our weather line. And then finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. The rain will come to an end for Tuesday for the most part, but it will stay very, very breezy.
Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 6.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
The NBC Nightly News is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 11. Have a great evening.